Greetings and salutations. We're back to looking at cartoons that we all probably grew up with watching. In this case, we're looking back at the show Rugrats. With, like, say, the top 20 episodes that are still great to look back at it.
No, Jonathan, I don't think they're going to accept my bid. And one more thing, Jonathan. Call security and have them escort you off the premises.
I don't understand. What do you mean?
You're fired!
So, let's not waste any more time. Let's look at number 20. In this case, the episode Beauty Contest. It is an episode in which Grandpa Lou wants to win a boat. But how does he actually do that? Well, they have to enter one of the kids into a beauty contest. So, but, you know, it's for girls. So, they put Tommy in it as a girl named Tanya. Angelica's there, and Dee Dee gets a bit pissed off by, Grandpa Lou. But he actually ends up winning the boat.
I still don't know why we couldn't have waited for Grandpa.
Grandpa can just have a nice walk home. He needs to do a little thinking anyway.
And I think this little bit of a line is actually hilarious. Continue at number 19. The Shot. In this episode, Tommy has to get his booster shot. And like all kids, you know, at that age, we were, like, you know, at college, but, you know, like, very young age, we were all afraid to get our shots. Especially after Chucky tells a horror story about, like, say, basically the doctor looks normal, and then he goes, like, say, yeah! And all that, he looks terrifying. But Tommy is brave, and gets his shot.
That's my boy. There you go, Tommy. Now, what kind of bandage do you want? Good choice.
But Angelica cries about it. But then again, like, say, I'm gonna be honest, like, say, even when one gets blood, that is, like, say, not gonna look, because it's never fun to, like, see all that. So, next episode, Angelica's in love. Ah, young love. In this episode, Angelica falls in love with a boy named Dean, who is basically a biker, but, you know, just as a kid.
I heard about you. A kid in daycare said you almost braked out once. Well, it didn't really work or anything. Tommy, it's not the things you do, it's the things you think. Wow, did you make that up? Nope, I read it in Dr. Seuss.
And, you know, with those stories, the boy can't be caged, and he must move on. He must not let the world be too small for him. But it's got, like, the ending of it, like, say, he goes, like, say, and he goes, is there another woman, Dean? And he goes, yeah, my mom. And I'm just, I feel like, say, and so, cause this kid's, like, only, like, say, 5, like, say, like, then again, you're probably not even that age, around that age, too. But, yeah, this one wasn't bad. I can still remember this one. Number 17, Ice Cream Mountain. In this episode, the kids go to a mini golf course in which they get hole-in-ones. You know, if they can get a hole-in-one, they get free ice cream. I would love some ice cream. I would love some ice cream. But the owner, he had been rigging it so that winners couldn't get that free ice cream, but they kind of removed some things in it, which kind of, you know, stopped, you know, helped the, the bit of mechanics.
Hey, wait a minute. We want a free game! But that can't happen! There's just no way! Hey, if those guys can get a hole-in-one, anybody can! Hey, that guy got a free game! Oh no! I'm ruined!
To make it, like, say, you want a free, and he goes, like, say, oh dear God! I'm losing my profits! And all that. Let's look at number 16. Cool Hand Angelica. Remember the film Cool Hand Luke? In this episode, Angelica gets sent to a summer camp where at first she bosses a kid around. I think his name was Gordy. But eventually she starts to become a true camper, getting involved in all the activities.
Pack my white bread and salami. Pack my white bread and salami. Then said bye-bye to my mommy. Then said bye-bye to my mommy. She and Daddy cut me loose. She and Daddy cut me loose. With a canteen full of apple juice. With a canteen full of apple juice.
At the suggestion of Susie. And winning the respect of all the fellow campers when they all just start shouting, pickles, pickles, and all that. I can remember these episodes. 15. Chucky's first haircut. In this episode, Chucky is afraid to get his haircut when it becomes too long. And it's your from thinking, it's not too long for me. I'm not gonna get it cut. So they try, in a way, the story, they try to, different ways to, tell Chucky, you don't need to be afraid to get your hair cut. Like having giving his dad a haircut. Yeah, Chaz a haircut.
Dee Dee, what a great idea. Well, you could always count on lip shits.
Maybe you'd better...
I'm so relieved.
Chaz.
Things will be so much easier now.
Charles.
I mean,
Chaz!
What?
Your hair.
My hair?
And yeah, I do love how say at first every kid has that moment where say you're getting your head plopped off because your scissors are very close to your face and all that. But number 14 was Ruthless Tommy. So in this episode, Tommy gets kidnapped and thought to be the child of a millionaire. In this case, Ronald Trump. You get it? I'm thinking Trump was very popular on this time still. But
Hush, little baby, don't say a word. Papa's gonna buy you a mockingbird.
Tommy annoys the kidnappers, and they return him to Stu instead. And yeah, I kind of think okay, yeah, this episode has a little bit of a darkness, because kidnapping. That's great child entertainment.
Please, take him back, please. We learned our lesson, and we're very sorry, Mr. Thump.
Who were those guys?
But, yeah. Number 13 was Chucky versus the potty. In this episode, Chucky is scared to use the potty and wants to stay in, just diapers forever. There's some, a bad dream sequences, say when he's in a prison and he's having to be told, hey, you eventually gotta, use the toilet and all that stuff. And then Angelica removes the mask and says, everybody's gotta go someday. But eventually he wakes up and has to go to the toilet.
Dee Dee! He did it! He did it!
Did what, Stu?
Look, Dee, he got out of bed all on his own, he came in here, and he did it.
And, yeah, it's not a bad episode. So, number 12, the Santa Express. In this episode, the babies experience Christmas for the first time. Chucky's scared of Santa, and Angelica, she tries to right a wrong, and because, say, I'm a brat, I'm going to try to take things that aren't mine, but she decides to say, has a bad dream of Santa giving her coal, and she decides to change her perspective and, give the toys back to Phil and Lil.
What a great house! I wonder if there's a car in the attached garage.
Angelica, is that a lump of coal?
Santa, he gives her a warning. He gives her a warning. Number 11 was Meet the Carmichaels. This is the episode that introduced us to the character of Susie and her family. Growing up, it was always cool to see a black family in a children's cartoon. So, and like in this episode, Susie tries to find her room with Tommy, and yeah, I feel like this one like is kind of relatable, I suppose. Like say like at that age, like meeting new friends and all that, and at the same time creating an adventure when you're exploring your new home and all that.
Susie, you could come over and play with me in my room. It's not the same. A kid has to have her own room, somewhere to keep her stuff, and to go when she wants to play.
But yeah, this one still works. Number 10 was the Mega Diaper Babies. In this episode, the babies pretend to be superheroes, and going against the villain of this episode being Angelica, who becomes a robot. I did find this one kind of funny looking back at it, because like say I think Phil and Lil, I think one of them uses spitballs as a weapon, and I think Lil is a invisible woman, but she's a dotted line, and but the one who is the MVP, who's the savior of the episode, is Chucky, saving the day because his hair form is a skunk. Looking back, this is a fun episode. Angelica's worst nightmare. In this episode, Charlotte might be pregnant with Angelica, being quite nervous that her parents might forget about her, and having some nightmare-inducing dreams.
Wonder what a toy car would taste like.
No, please! I'm your big sister!
Well, now you're num-nums!
No!
However, sadly for Charlotte, she ends up having a miscarriage. And looking back, especially for a cartoon, that is a very serious topic, to, want to talk about when it comes to kids. And, say they don't really say the word that, but at the same time, whoa, that is some, takes a lot of, chances to talk about one, especially for a young children's show, involving, very young kids. Let's look at next. Number 8 was Spike's Babies. We all love dogs. But what is a cuter animal? What is even cuter? Well, animals taking care of other animals. In this episode, Spike ends up watching over some stray kittens, which is adorable. It's adorable whenever dogs do that, whenever they become, say, a parent to a kitten, and they're just going to say, sure, come here, little tiny fluff ball. Yeah, I sometimes wish I had a big dog, and they would just, look at my cats and go, say, what are these? So, yeah, let's look at number 7, the Pirate Light. In this episode, the babies think a repairman is a pirate, and they try to find his treasure before he does. And say at the same time, say they Spike ends up scaring the repairman away.
Okay, little fella. All I want is the nice piece of paper.
Help! Somebody call off the dog!
There you are. Hey, how about spending some time on the water heater? I'm not paying you to play with the dog.
It's all yours, Sparky! You're the expert! You fix it!
What do I owe you?
It's on the house!
And I think it was Stu ends up finding what he thinks is the treasure map that the babies are finding, and he goes say, I think this is how we find it, and all that. Number 6 is Angelica for a day. We all wonder what it'd be like to be someone else for a day. In this episode, Chucky and Angelica switched personalities. At least I think it was by wearing each other's shoes. And I think at that age, very young kids, we all had that moment of say, what would it be like to step in someone else's shoes? And I think this episode pretty much does that. What if the kids, wore each other's shoes and then they change personalities? That's always a fun idea, I suppose. Number 5 was He Saw, She Saw. Episode, Chucky becomes friends with a girl who has a protective, slightly older brother who still uses a binky. But eventually the brother starts to like Chucky after Chucky saves his sister from ants.
Wow, I can talk better without this thing.
He ditched the binky. Now, what are we gonna do?
I say we take his undies this time.
I think it was Bugs too, I think. And then at the end of the episode, he's going to say, "Now don't you be going too fast. Be careful, you two," and all that. I don't know. That was kind of cute. Number 4 was A Visit from Lipschitz. So in this episode, Dee Dee's favorite doctor, Dr. Lipschitz, she always talked about that doctor, comes to visit the family, but it seems all his books weren't able to help him deal with these babies.
It looks like you hit the jackpot.
Hi, Chucky!
So, number 3, the mysterious Mr. Friend. So if you didn't remember, Stu is a toy inventor. So for this one, he creates a new toy named Mr. Friend, but the babies are afraid of him. And can you blame him? Mr. Friend is creepy. I think it's supposed to be a reference to Chucky, and they decide, they try to get rid of him in several ways by throwing bowling balls at him and all that. Yeah, I can remember, say, at the end of the episode, Chuck, I think it's Angelica, she, says, say, "Hey, guys, check out my new toy," and she goes, she shows us that, and they go, "Ah!" And so, well, I thought it was cool. Number 2, Chucky's Wonderful Life. In this episode is a retelling of It's a Wonderful Life, in which Chucky wonders what would it be like if he wasn't born. In a way, with this characters, with characters this young, it's kind of dark, in a way. Tommy being a dumpster, dumping for dumpsters, trying to find food, and Angelica being kind of...
Angelica, could I have just one little crumb of cookie, even if it's already been in your mouth, please? Sorry, Tommy, no can do. If I started giving you crumbs, pretty soon I'd have to give them to everyone.
Chubby. And I think, especially at this age, I think it's kind of dark, yeah. But then again, it's not a bad episode. It's there's, especially in cartoons, you are always willing to, go to those dark moments for kids, say, hey, kids, life is always fun, but sometimes there's some bit of darkness in that fun. So let's look at number 1. The Toy Palace. In this episode, Tommy and Chucky end up staying in a toy store after closing, and looking back, malls are terrifying at night, especially when they are closing, because have you seen them? They are just little bit of sections of the mall, parts of them, no lights and all that, and you're just walking through them, and then all that. You might hear noise, and then oh, what's that? And all that. With this episode had the monster known as Thorg, which is in a way a reference to Kong, because Reptar is a reference to Godzilla. So, I think at the end of the episode, they take the Thorg doll, robot, to and ship it back to the I think it was the 1750, like say when George Washington was crossing the Delaware, I believe.
Gorg, want eat!
I think that's the joke. They take him back so far in the past, and yeah, I remember this episode so much because it was one of the episodes they recreated in the Rugrats Search for Rescue on the PlayStation 1. That was a game I actually kind of liked. But yeah, Rugrats is still a fun show to look back at, even if it's like, you know, a show that's like, say, so sure, but Rugrats was always a fun show to look back at watching. See you next time.